the grid appear. Draft your first line here. Design a new world. Watch your vision unfold.
Hello everyone, good morning once again. This is the third video I'm making, and today we'll be looking at we'll be starting the drawing tools, how to be using the drawing tools to draw in AutoCAD. So if you look at your handout from where we left off last time, from the the polar coordinates, we are now going to head on and learn how to use the line tool to draw. Okay, so from page 19 onwards, it contains examples of how to use the line tool. So as I have already said, there are two templates that you can use. We have the imperial template and then the metric template. The imperial template is the one with labeled AutoCAD DWT, and then the metric template is the one labeled AutoCAD ISO DWT. Okay, so if you'll mostly be using the AutoCAD ISO. So when I click on AutoCAD ISO, this is what I have. Now, the line tool is a tool used to draw a line from one point to the other. So when you click on the line tool, you'll be asked to specify the first point. Now, you realize that with your handout, instead of probably specifying a point, you may be asked to specify a coordinate. An example is this. Select the left click on the line tool icon and enter the figures as shown. So line, specify the first point, which is 65,220. Then you press enter. So the 65,220 is supposed to tell you the point of the first point. Okay, just to tell you the first point that the screen will be on with respect to the coordinate. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you cannot be able to use your own coordinates. So this is 6520. And then it's telling me the next thing to do is to specify next point, drag to the right and enter 240. Okay, so that is to draw this. So I am just going to move my cursor to the right, turn on the auto. Okay, this is auto mode. When you turn on auto mode, it allows you to draw straight lines vertically or horizontally. Okay, so auto mode is on. I move this way and I enter 240. Okay, so that is 240 there. I move on with 145. Okay, I'm going to shrink it in a way so that I can share the screen. Okay, so continue from where I left off, the line tool, and then turn on my object snap so that I can click the end point here and then continue. So I move my cursor down and then I enter 145, press enter. Move my cursor to the next point, drag to the left, and then enter 56. And then I move my cursor up and then type 25. I move it this way and then I type 120. I move it up this way and then I type 25 again. This way, and I enter 55, and then I end at the last part. Okay, so that is how to use the line tool. The line tool can allow you to draw a line from one point to another. You can specify the coordinate point, okay, or you can just click on any part of the screen to just click and then continue. So because you guys are home and you are practicing, I would urge you to use the coordinates so that you can be able to follow through. Okay, so all these are samples that you can follow to draw and be able to know how to use the tools. Okay, right, so that is the use of the line tool to draw a line one point to the other. The next one is the circle. With the circle, you have options either to draw the circle by specifying the center and the radius, or by specifying the center and the diameter. So when I click on circle, I click on any part of the screen where I want my center to be placed, and then I enter this radius. Okay, it says circle, specify radius of circle or diameter. Okay, so I'm going to specify the radius of the circle, 50. Okay, if I want to specify with the diameter, I click on circle, select center diameter, I click for the center and I enter the diameter. Maybe I want a diameter of 150, so I press enter, and that is a circle with a diameter of 150. Okay, now you can also have two circles, and you'd want to draw a circle which intersects or touches the tangent point of these two circles, and with that you can do that with the tan radius. Okay, so you click on tan radius, specify this part of the circle, specify this part of the circle, and then I just press enter. Okay, then just do it again, this and then this. Okay, so it says probably because of the radius, so it says the circle does not exist. Let me draw another circle. Okay, so tangent, then this tangent, and then the radius. We press enter. Okay, press enter, and then that becomes a radius that touches the two circles. Okay, you also have 2-point circle where you have point 1 and then point 2, like defining the diameter. So point 1, point 2, you can draw the circle, and then you have 3-point circle where you can click on 3 points on your screen, and then that will help you draw a circle. The points will be in the form of a triangle, so point 1, point 2, and then point 3. Okay, so that is also how to draw a circle. You also have some exercises you can follow, or examples you can follow. Okay, so now eraser. You can click on one part of the workspace. If you want to erase multiple, click one part of the workspace and then drag and move the cursor over the ones that you want to delete. Okay, click, move the cursor, don't drag, just move the cursor over it and then click the next part. Okay, and then you press the delete key and then it deletes. Okay, so click, move the cursor over and then click the other corner and then you press the delete key. You can also click on the erase tool, that is the erase tool, and then the same thing, select and then right click. Okay, right click and everything goes, or you press enter and everything goes. Okay, so this is the erase tool. It is used to erase drawings. Okay, right, so the next one is the polyline. The polyline can be used to draw straight lines and at the same time curved lines, or it can be used to draw a line with varying thickness. Now so let's click on the polyline. Following the exercise here, we draw this figure. Okay, so we click on any part, polyline, click any part here, says starting point. So we've clicked for the starting point, and then we move the cursor this way and then we enter 100. We move down this way, enter 50. Move this way, enter 100. And I move this way and enter 50. Okay, now let's look at one thing. We have what we call a closed bounded object and an open bounded object. A line we can use to draw the same figure here, 100, down this way 50, this way 100, and then up here 50. Okay. Now, all this was used, I used polyline for this, and then I used a normal line for this. And I realized that when you click one part of the polyline, the whole object is highlighted. Okay, click one part of the line, the one that you use, the rectangle that you use the line to draw, and only the part that you clicked is highlighted. We have what we call closed bounded objects and open bounded objects. Closed bounded objects are closed. Okay, they are like a single line connected together. So when you click one thing or one part of it, you click or you highlight the whole part. And that is how a polyline behaves. A polyline is used to develop closed bounded objects. Now, if you have the line to draw, you are going to have an open bounded object. So if you click on this line, realize that it's only this part of the line that is highlighted. Okay, or this the only part of the rectangle that is highlighted. Okay, so when it comes to 3D, what happens is that closed bounded objects are used to draw solids, and open bounded objects are used to draw surfaces. So when it comes to 3D and you are drawing, you have to be quite sure what you want to do. Okay, so polylines allow us to create closed bounded objects, okay, such as this. Okay, the next one is to create a line, or to draw a line with varying thickness. Okay, so let's just follow let's just do a simple example about how you can be able to change your thickness, vary your thickness when you are drawing with a polyline, and then we'll see if we can complete this exercise. So we click on polyline, and when we click on polyline, specify our first point. We click any part of the screen, specify our first point. Now you realize that it's giving you the option next point, arc, half width, and then length, undo, and then width. So what we are going to do is click on width, and then when we click on width, it's going to access the starting width. Okay, the starting width is the width that is going to start with, the thickness of the line that is going to start with at the starting point. Okay, so let me make it 5, enter, and then the ending width I'm maintaining the same 5. Okay, so the starting width, which is from the starting point, is 5. Any point at which, or any length at which it will end, would also maintain the same starting width of 5. So let's say 150, enter. So from this part to this part is 150. The starting thickness is 5, the ending thickness is 5. I can go back here and then click on width again, and then this time change the width and make it 3. Press enter, and then the ending width maintain the same 3. So press enter, and then so the starting point from here is 3. The ending points, or wherever I will end, will be the ending point, and then to maintain the same 3. So when I'm done, I press enter. Realize that this one is thicker than this one. Okay, so that is the starting width and ending width. You can use the same process to draw even an arrow or an arrowhead. So to do that, you can click on the polyline, specify starting point, click on any parts here to specify the starting point. Now it is still maintaining the line width 3, okay, because that is what I've been using from the beginning. So if I want to change, maybe I click the starting point, I go to width, click on 0 to change the starting width to 0 and the ending width to 0. Okay, now if I also want to draw, the arrowhead, what I'm going to do is go back again with starting point 0, and then the ending I will change it because it's going to be an arrow, so I have to change the ending so that the ending will have a much bigger thickness. So I'm going to make the ending 10. Press enter. So this is the starting width. The starting point is 0. The starting width at the starting point is 0. The ending width at the ending point is 10. Okay, so I am going to enter the width or the length, sorry, the length of the line, okay, or the length of this arrow. That will be 24. And then what I can do is, after I've entered 24, I'm going to change the width again. Click on width, change the width to 2, starting, and then maintain the same ending width as 2. And this is what I'm going to have. Press enter. Have what? An arrowhead. Okay, so you can use the polyline to change the width of the line or the thickness of the line as you draw. Okay, you can follow this exercise, this sample, to get through this exercise. Okay, now the next thing to about the polyline is that you can be able to use it to draw curves or arcs and lines at the same time. So I click on the polyline, enter, specify the starting point. I click on the part of the screen to specify the starting point. Let me change my width first to 0. Then I continue. So the length, okay, so the length of this line is 100. Now I want to draw an arc here, okay, an arc here to form some kind of an oval shape. So I will go and click on arc, because that is what I want now. I want to draw an arc. So click on the arc, and then you have the length of the arc. You can specify the length of the arc, or you can specify the radius of the arc, or the second point of the arc. Okay, but I just want my arc to be to have a diameter of about 50. So this should do. Now immediately you enter diameter of 50, you see it's still drawing what? An arc. Okay, but now I don't need that arc, I need a line. So I'll have to come and select line here by clicking on it, then draw a line again of about 100. Click on the arc again to get the arc to close this shape, and then press enter, and then I am done. So this forms one solid object, okay, using the polyline tool. Okay, so that is it for the polyline. Okay, polyline tool. So the next tool we are going to look at, before we do that, I don't know if I've taken you through the accuracy tool. So if I haven't taken you guys through the accuracy tools, let me know so that we can look at it again. Okay, the next one we are going to look at is the arc tool. Okay, so the arc tool is used to draw arcs. Okay. There are about so many ways that we can be able to draw an arc. So I'm going to just take 3 methods out of this so that it's going to make my video a bit shorter. Okay, so we have the first one, which is the 3-point arc, which you can use to draw an arc by specifying 3 points, point 1, point 2, and then point 3. Then you have an arc. Okay, so you specify 3 points and then you have an arc. You can also use one option whereby you can click for the starting point, then the center, and then now you can now trace your arc out by moving your cursor anti-clockwise. Okay, that is the start, center, and then end. So this is the starting point, this is the center, and then wherever you click when you are finished drawing becomes your end. Okay, so that is the start, this is the starting point, then the center, and then the end. Now all these arc methods have specific functions depending on what you are drawing, or depending on the situation that you meet. You can be able to use the specific method. Okay, so let's say I have this line, and I want to draw an arc on this. Okay, so I can go for the start, center, end. Okay, so the start point, the center is the center of the line, and then the end I draw, and it joins here, and then this is the end. Okay, start, center, and then the end. The next one would be the start end radius. Okay, let's say I have this, and then I want to draw a line. I've been given a radius of an arc here. Okay, but I don't know I've been given the radius, and I have to draw an arc by this line. So I'll click on the start end radius, click this part, come and click this part, and then enter the radius. So let's see, the radius is 22. Is it possible? Start and radius. Try to find the right radius to use for this. 200. Okay, yeah, so 200 just did the trick. So start end radius 200. Okay, so you realize that this is 200. So usually you have a figure this way, you have the arc here, and then you've been given the radius. You can use the start end radius to get this. Okay, so there are other options you can also try, and then you can use that to draw your arcs. Okay, okay, so gentlemen, let's continue with our lessons. Our next tool after the arc is the ellipse. So the ellipse tool is used to draw an ellipse. So I'm going to select my AutoCAD ISO template. So the ellipse tool is just by the arc tool. You click on the arrow by the ellipse, and you have about 3 ways of drawing the ellipse. First one is to specify the center, and then you specify your major and your minor axis, just like the way you drew your ellipse in the GSS, or in GSS you have your minor and your major axis. Your major axis is a big diameter, okay, or is a large diameter, then your minor axis is a small diameter. Okay, so select center, you click any part of the workspace to specify your center, and then you specify your endpoint. The first endpoint that you are specifying is your major diameter. Okay, so my first endpoint is 200, enter, and then my minor will be 100. So there you go, I have the ellipse. Okay, so for the example here, when you click to specify your ellipse, you are going to first of all enter the coordinates. Okay, that is your center coordinates, and then your major, and then your minor. Okay, or you can just click any part of the workspace, and then the first, depending on how you want the ellipse to be. If I want the ellipse to be vertical, I'm going to specify the major here, and then the minor, which is 100, on the vertical. Okay, so your ellipse stands erect, or it stands vertical. You can also use the axis and endpoints. The axis and endpoint is like specifying the diameter first before the minor axis. So the major axis is the form of a diameter, so you click the first point, and then you now enter your dimension for the second point, which is 300, and then for the minor axis, which is 100. Okay, so the first point is this part, the next is this, and then the last one is the end point. Okay, and then you can be able to specify your ellipse. So trying it again, specify first endpoint, go again, ellipse, specify axis endpoint of ellipse or arc. So click, and then the other endpoint, you enter the other endpoint, and then you enter you specify the distance for the minor axis. Okay, so oh, that was 10, so pretty small. Okay, so that is for the ellipse. There are exercises that you can go through to draw the ellipse. Then the next one is the polygon. Okay, the polygon tool is used to draw objects of 3 or more sizes. Okay, or objects with 3 or more sizes. You can use the polygon to draw. The polygon is just beneath the rectangle, so you have to click on the arrow by the rectangle to reveal the polygon, and then you click on polygon. So first, when you click on polygon, you'll be asked to enter the number of sides. Okay, so the number of sides, so I'm using 6. Enter. Specify the center of the polygon or edge. Specify the center of the polygon. So I can click on any part of the screen to specify my center, and it says inscribe in circle or circumscribe about circle. So inscribe means it's going to draw the polygon in the circle. Circumscribe means it's going to draw the polygon about the circle. So let's select the first one, inscribe, and then we are going to type in the dimension or the radius of the circle to define the ellipse. So we have 80. Okay. Let's draw with the same radius, but this time we are going to use the circumscribe. Okay, we are going to use the circumscribe instead of the inscribe. So polygon, and then enter number of sides 6, and then center. Click on any part of the workspace to define our center. This time choose circumference, and then this time specify a radius of the same 80. Okay, so you realize that for inscribe it is smaller than circumscribe, although they all have the same radius. So why is it so? So to do that, we are going to click on the object snap and then make sure that the geometric center is ticked. Okay, for it to show us the geometric center. Then we are going to click on the circle, and then go to the geometrical center and draw a circle of 80. Okay, and then we are going to click here to and then draw another circle of radius 80. So you realize that inscribe with this drawn inside the circle and with circumscribe drawn outside the circle, it tells you the reason why one object or one shape might be bigger than the other. Okay. The next thing we'll do is to use the edge. Okay, there's another function that we can use to draw our ellipse, that is edge. Sorry, our polygon, that is the edge function. So we will click on polygon, and then we will change this time. Let's change the number of sides to 7, and then we'll instead of clicking any part of the workspace to define our center, we will click on edge. Okay, then we are going to specify the first point. So this is the first point of the edge. Now the length of the side we will use to draw the whole polygon. Okay, equal sides. So if I should enter 50, that to be the length of this polygon, we are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that is the shape that we've drawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. Alright, so that is how to use the edges to draw. You can also try using the edge again, this time 3, and then clicking edge, 1 point, and then 70 to draw a triangle. The next tool that we are going to look at is the rectangle tool. The rectangle tool can be used to draw a rectangle. Okay, so and there are several ways in which you can draw a rectangle. You can just select the rectangle tool and then click the first corner and then move your cursor to the opposite corner of the rectangle and then click to define the rectangle. And this is without dimension. Okay, but if you want to use dimensions, what you can do is click on the rectangle, and then when you click to specify the first part, okay, that is click to specify the first corner, you see the option area, dimension, and then rotation. Then you click on dimension. Click on dimension, you have to specify the length of the rectangle. Okay, so this length of the rectangle, the first input is always the X, and then the next input is the Y. So the length or the horizontal length of the rectangle, let's say 200, and then the width of the rectangle is about 150. Okay, now when you are done, make sure you click for the command to disappear because it will still be active. Okay, so once again, to draw a rectangle with dimensions, click on the rectangle, specify your first corner, come and click on dimensions, enter your length, which is the direction in the x-axis, and then your width, direction in the y-axis. Okay, and then click to define your rectangle, and then you can leave. Yeah. Okay, so these are the few tools that we've gone through under the draw tools. Okay, so the draw tools or the drawing tools are the tools that you use to draw, and then the modifying tools are the tools that can modify whatever object has been drawn using the drawing tools. Okay, so I'll end here and then we'll continue with the modifying tools next time. I would do one of the exercises so that you guys can be able to follow. Okay, so hold on for the exercise, or next time we'll do the exercise. Bye. Okay, so let's continue with the exercise. Let's continue with the exercise. Okay, we are going to draw this, and to draw this, first of all we have to look at the units. This is in inches, so we have to select the right template to be able to draw this figure. Okay, so we are going to go to the start menu and then select a new template. This time we are going to select the AutoCAD template because that is what we can use to draw in the imperial form, okay, or use the imperial units of measurements. So we are going to select AutoCAD DWT, and then we are going to start drawing. So the first thing that we are going to do is to click on the line tool, and then we are going to draw the side and follow the pattern to draw the outline of the shape, and then we move from there. So we select line, we click here, any part of the space, turn on our auto so that I can draw straight lines, move up this way. The first is 6 inches, so 6. Okay, and then we go here, 0.6 inches, and then up 3 inches, and then this way 0.6, okay, and then we are also going to come down this way. So you can realize that from here to here would also be about 0.6. So 0.6 from this will give us 2.4. Okay, so we can come down here 2.4, and we go this way 1.80, up again 2.4, this way 0.6, down this way 3, this way is 0.6, down this way 6. Okay, so after we've done that, we are going to use start end radius using the arc. Go to arc, start end radius. So define this point as our start, this as our end, and then we are going to define our radius. And what is our radius? Our radius is 0.9. that is the outer part. Okay, 0.9. okay, so we can draw a line here so that we can use the circle to draw. Click here and then draw the circle at this point. So now that we have this line, we can just click on the circle. Make sure you come to object snap and make sure that you check your endpoint to show you the endpoint of the line. Sorry, the midpoint, which is this, to show you the midpoint of the line. So circle, these are midpoints, and then the diameter of this, we select diameter. The diameter of this is 0.6. okay, and then we are done with that. Now the next thing realize is that this 3.0 is up to this point, so it means that the rest of this side is undefined. Okay, it's not been shown in the drawing. So what you can do is probably to click on a line, click here, and then let's say make it about 1. Move this way 0.6, and then come and click the end here, come here, click here 1, this way 0.6, and then you click here and you are done. Okay, so you are going to have this center line. Okay, this center line. Now one thing I'm going to show you is how to stretch. So you click, make sure you put the cursor here, and then click on this end, and then move your cursor to the left, and then click here. When it turns red, just move the cursor, don't drag, just move it. Click here, it turns red, move the cursor, click here, it turns red, move the second, move the cursor, and then you click. Sorry. Okay, so for now, this is what you can be able to do due to the tools that I've shown you. I've not shown you any modifying tools, so you cannot be able to modify the drawing. But for now, the tools that we've gone through, you should be able to draw this with respect to dimensions or using dimensions. Okay, so we are done. Done with the shape. We'll continue with more exercises next time. Have a nice day.
White lines on the cool blue grid, building worlds that softly bloom. Precision